Hello and welcome to Metapsychics, the podcast where we talk about all things metaphysical, spiritual, paranormal, dad jokes, and everything in between. I'm Liv, this is M. M, say hi.
Yo.
And we're your Metapsychics!
Today we're inviting you into our shower again for another Metaphysical Shower Thoughts.
Wow. That's a good one. I like that.
Well, so today we wanted to talk about spiritual gifts, but Liv, we did an aura reading earlier today, and Liv was talking about how she receives information. And I wanted to start with that because people always like to come to us and are like, I'm being blocked, I can't get information. And one of the reasons that I have found that people have a hard time receiving information is because they go on the internet and they try to find like spiritual teachers that teach you how to be a medium. You know what I'm talking about?
I should also tell everybody that's new to the show that we are psychic mediums.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about this lovely things.
Twin flames and comedians.
But
So,
there's a lot of people on the internet that are like, you need to raise your vibration in order to talk to spirits because we live on a very low vibrational thing and that's bad.
Maybe they have to go to one of those cheap motel beds where you stick the quarter in and it makes the bed vibrate. That's how I would solve that problem.
I think my dad is here. I think that's why Jellybean's barking.
Jellybean is M's tiny corgi. She's literally the smallest corgi in the history of the universe, so
She's 16 pounds.
very small potato, and hence the Jellybean.
But yeah, every time I give readings to people, I feel weird being like, you have a low vibration and you have to do this to get information. And I feel like when I tell them that they have a low vibration, they're going to think that like something's wrong with them. And I'm like, low vibrations aren't bad things.
We should also say that M offers a reading called Spiritual Gifts Readings, in addition to Spirit Guide Readings. And I don't know if it's different for you, but when I get spiritual gifts for people during readings, just happenstancely, it's usually from their spirit guides or somebody that's telling me about it. So,
Well, the way I get information about your spiritual gifts is from your spirit guides because your spirit guides speak in the way in which your gifts work. So the way that they speak to me is the way your mind works.
Yeah.
I don't know. Liv likes to say I look through people.
Yeah, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
So I do that just naturally so I can tell the way in which you think before even meeting you. And that's one of the ways in which I do this, which is why I'm like, this is probably going to be a good reading for me to do because I'm really good at judging people.
Wow.
I don't
There's
know.
no
I'm
way
a very
to
good
make
judge
that-
of character.
There we go. That makes it sound better. I'm a
I know,
shitty
but-
judge of character.
I'm a Virgo. Judgy.
Goodness gracious. So,
But yeah, when I give you readings, I'm not necessarily judging you. I just am very good at reading who you are as a person. I see through the like walls that you have up and I'm able to understand the way in which you think. So that's why I'm very good at telling you what your spiritual gifts are because I work with your spirit guides and the general consensus of how your energy feels and putting those two things together and being like, this is how your brain works. Hence, this is what your clairs do. Because I always like to tell people, I feel like everyone has a combination of the 6 clairs, but in different ways, which is why a single person cannot tell you how to use your gifts because it is based upon your unique way of thinking.
yeah. So, I mean, oh, I love it so much. They're talking about how we're horse girls again. Remember how that's been a small underlying theme of our understanding of metaphysical things and other stuff we've talked about?
Yeah, they like to use horses to explain things to you because you're very clairsentient.
Yeah, well, it's like natural horsemanship. So the stuff that I do, a lot of people will deal with horses in a way in which it's you have to do the same thing for every single horse because no matter how they are, it's just going to make it what you need or to get out of them if you do it repetitively the same way every single time. However, the way in which I work with horses and think about it is based off of their personality and how they think. So if you can understand how your horse thinks, then you can understand how to work with them. That's literally what Em is doing when she gives you a spiritual gifts reading. Your spirit guides, since she is a medium, communicate to her the ways in which your brain works. And based on how you perceive the world and think about things with your own consciousness, she's able to give you an understanding of what you probably already know about yourself, but haven't had someone else just point it out to you.
Yeah, so for example, my spirit guide Rosaline speaks in a very specific manner because that's the way in which I receive thoughts. So she speaks claircognizantly, which is clear or psychic thoughts that basically just come out of nowhere. It's just you know things. There's no process in getting the information. You just know them. But the way in which she gives me that information is by connecting thoughts together. So she's like, you remember this experience you had when you were like 6 months old? And you remember this experience when you were like 12? And then you remember this experience you had like 2 days ago? They all connect, and here's how.
I have a question.
What?
Do you really remember things from when you were 6 months old?
No.
Oh, okay.
I thought it'd be funny.
Oh. Because I was like, wait, is that some like autistic superpower or something? Because my mom goats me all the time because I remember something from when I was like 2.
It is a thing, though. People can do that.
Okay.
They can remember things from when they were in the womb. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard about that. My mom always thinks it's weird that I remember breaking her toe at the like drive-through car zoo when I was little because I literally jumped out. I was still in a car seat and I was like 1 or 2. I think I was 2.
I was like, that doesn't mean much.
No, she's like, I don't understand how you remember doing that when you were 2 because you don't really remember things until after you're 4 or 5. So
most of my memories are when I was 3 to 6 because then I started school and school was bad for me.
Oh, yeah. I remember things from when I was like 1 to 2, but 6 months, I was like, that's a lot. That's really early. So
Yeah,
I remember the first time my mom gave me gum and I swallowed it. I remember exactly where I was because she had just gotten done tying my shoes for me in our old house in the little tiny one that we lived in. And I was sitting in the kitchen waiting for her to get my brother because we were going somewhere. And I was like, I want gum too. And she's like, you can't swallow it. It's not like normal food. And I remember thinking going, okay, I'm not going to swallow it. It's going to be fine. And then I did because I couldn't help it because I didn't have the actual like muscle control with brain function to do that because I was like 1 or 2. And then she's like, where did it go? And I was like, I don't know. Anyways, continue.
I think your mom told me the same story. I think you and your mom have the same stories.
I mean, we were there, so.
I know, but you just like off-putedly tell me without me instigating the conversation.
You did. You said you had I remembered things when you were 6 months old, and I thought that was preposterous because I thought remembering things since my mother told me it was preposterous that I remembered things.
Technically, it's there,
At 1 to 2 is weird. Well, it's there,
Just
but
got some dust on it, Gotta blow the dust off.
I think my 6-month-old memories were just boobies, so.
Blow the dust off.
I also spit warm milk in my dad's face. He was mad.
Naturally.
Anyways, continue. Spiritual gifts.
So, like I was talking before we got into spiritual gifts, is a lot of people think that you need to raise your vibration in order to get information. And today, we did an aura reading for one of our patrons. And if you want an aura reading, make sure to join Patreon. But Liv was talking about how she receives information in the sense of, like, how it works on a mediumship energy level, not the way she gets information specifically, because I know we started talking about how brains work and things like that. But she started talking about how wires work. You want to go into that?
Yeah, one of our patrons, Katie, what's up, Katie? Asked a question on Patreon, and if you heard a thump, it's because I can't not touch things when we're recording.
ADHD.
But Katie asked a question in our Discord server for Patreon, and we had a video that came out last week, something like that, for the Twin City Opera House, where we did our first like paranormal investigation that wasn't at a cemetery with our friends. And I have to stay on topic. I'm sorry. I'm talking about things and it's making me want to talk about other things. So Katie said, oh my gosh, it was so cool to watch you, Olivia, that's me, when you were pushing your energy out to keep the dark things away and away from manipulating your music box. And I was like, well, thanks. And she said it made me think that, is that how you're able to receive spiritual information? kind of like if you push energy out, then you're keeping things away. But if you pull energy in, then you're able to receive that spiritual energy. Because literally spiritual energy is just frequencies, different frequencies of energy, which is why when M says that changing your frequency to be high isn't necessarily the answer, because life and soul energy, spiritual stuff exists at different frequencies. It's not just high frequencies. So I responded to Katie and I said, that makes a lot of sense. However, I just want to specify that when you understand this, it's not just a single wire. It's not just one frequency or one electrical impulse that's going out away from you or in towards you. The way my spirit guides want me to specify it is that it's multiple wires, and the current and frequencies of the spiritual energy are different. So if we're going to talk about spiritual energy as current or electricity, you can have DC or you can have AC. And for people that don't know anything about electronics, I'm going to give you the really simplified version. And if you are an electrical engineer, I'm sorry if I offend you because I'm not that smart. But DC is direct current. And the way I understand it is it can go and flow in one direction, linearly, something like that, in a line. So DC is direct current. It flows in one direction. And the way you can measure it is it's very, they like to say like shallow. It doesn't have a lot of oomph behind it, if that makes any sense. It's a little more light, and I would say frequency wise, it exists at a lower frequency. Now, you have alternating current, which is different than DC or direct current. AC or alternating current has high peaks and troughs or wavelengths of frequencies in which the electricity flows. And it can also flow in two different directions. It is alternating, so it can go one way and the other. The way my fiance explained it is, if you were to hold the end of a garden hose and you wait for the pressure to build and then you let it go and it shoots out, that's kind of how AC or alternating current works. But if you have DC current, it's kind of like when the hose is just on and it flows out and then falls down.
So if you touch an AC current, would you be able to untouch it?
What do you mean?
Well, electric fences, they pulsate.
Alternating current.
Let go.
Yeah, exactly.
So can you let go of an AC current?
Yeah. That's why the AC runs through fences instead of DC. If you're using like welding, if you're a welder out there, a lot of people will use DC current because the electrical or the electric electrons only penetrate so far into the metal or the surface, the media that they're using to have things go through it. So if you're looking to weld things together and you don't need the current to go very far into the metal that you're using or the electrons into the metal, the media that you're trying to weld together, you're going to use DC current, I believe. If I'm wrong, you guys can roast me, but that's the way I'm going to understand it. And if you need to get more melty hot stuff for longer and more thick material, you're going to use AC, or at least you're going to change the amperage of what that exists at. So anyways, DC, one-way line, one-way trail, and it doesn't go very far like the garden hose. Now, if you got AC, really big alternating current, big peaks and troughs if you're looking at wavelengths and you understand wavelengths, or if you're holding a garden hose and then you let it go and then hold it and let it go. It shoots out a little bit farther and then stops. So they explained to me that energy, when I'm receiving it or pushing it out as a medium, does not work with one wire or one current being just two things. So if I'm pushing energy out, it would be a DC current to get the dark things away from me. And if I'm pulling energy in, it would be one AC current, able to bring the spiritual energy of whatever it is that I'm talking to me. My spirit guides are like, it's not that. It's more complicated than that. You got color-coded wires. You got different wires. You got relays. If you don't know what relays are, if you look up a basic wiring schematic, it's the little thing that looks like a drawbridge that goes open and close to shut the electricity off from one side of a wire to the other. It's kind of like switches. So got lots of relays and all of these other things. So say one wire I use to push energy out to keep dark things away. That could be like a 10 gauge, which is going to be a really, really thick wire that can hold a lot of energy at a low frequency and push it out in a steady and reliable current to keep the dark things out. That could be one point of my spiritual circuitry. Another one, say when Em and I put on our medium hats, is going, Hang on, I tuned. There we go. That's a little better. Do it again. There we go. When we put our mediumship hats on, that's going to open a certain relay, redirect the spiritual energy, and say, when we do that, we're going to be talking to trees. That's going to be the green wire for trees, and all of the connected circuits and circuit boards that are connected to that green wire for talking or receiving tree information is going to be open, while the other relays are going to be shut. Now, in order to make sure that circuit boards and electrical wires don't overload, basically. You have load capacitors. Yeah, short circuit, anything like that, blow a fuse. They have load capacitors and fuses. So in addition to the different currents and different wires that create our spiritual circuitry in order to send out energy as well as receive it and interpret it in certain ways, you also have fuses. Now, if you don't know, fuses are these little tiny kind of like, I don't know, glass bottle looking things, and they can range in different sizes. Usually small circuits can be anywhere from, or small fuses can be anywhere from the size of your pinky to like really, really, really big. And what fuses do is they mediate the flow of electrical or electric current. I don't know why I keep wanting to say electric current through wires. So if you have one section of wires that only has the capacity to hold a certain amount of amperage or watts, that leads into a larger sort of circuitry, there's going to be a fuse connecting those two areas so that when one energy transfers into the other, it's not going to overload or short circuit the wires. Your fuses, those things that mediate the current and frequency at which spiritual energy travels, or the electric current, is going to be your chakras.
So your chakras are the fuses?
Yes.
The load capacitors?
Basically.
Yeah, so that's where I was getting the fact that you don't need to raise your vibration. You can. That can give you specific information. However, you need to be on the right radio frequency in order to get the specific information.
Yes. And if your clairs are different, just like M says, because of the way in which your brain functions, guess what your brain is powered by? Neurons. Guess what neurons are like? Electric circuits. Literally, your brain has electricity. Your whole body has electricity running through it. So if your clairs are similar to the way in which you think and how you process the world and perceive things around you, then if you are able to understand that, in addition to what frequency you as a person naturally emit, then you're going to be able to understand how to manipulate that, as well as just, instead of trying to change it, but let it flow. Just learn how to do it. If that's your vibe and you as a person naturally exist at a lower frequency, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to be able to talk to things that I can't even talk to, because me individually as a person, I don't jive on that frequency very well.
Yeah. You have a very neutral frequency.
I'm also extremely explosive though. So I think I'm pretty good at, the peaks and troughs of meeting things when it comes to having to lower or raise my energy, but I do struggle with it because my natural whatever is very much like, yeah. My fuses aren't very good.
Sorry, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Your explosions are through emotions, and red, which is not feeling secure or safe. So you do it through like aggression.
Hang on. And we're back. My mother was calling me because I'm getting married on Saturday and it's Monday. So we're better. We're talking about how I am Hades from Hercules.
Well, they're telling me because you feel like you are overwhelmed by your clairsentience, it's because that's the frequency you have a hard time channeling, like making neutral.
Ah.
And that's also why you feel overwhelmed by it, because the other frequency is that red frequency.
So what's with the red frequency?
The red frequency symbolizes feeling safe and secure. So when you feel overwhelmed, you kind of like want to emit that red frequency. However, I don't know, those are the two frequencies that are like, they're showing me go haywire. So when you experience a clairsentient feeling, you don't feel like you can have control over it, and that's the thing that makes you feel safe and secure. Does that make sense?
Why my spirit guides are moving me to clear cognizance? Yes and no.
They're saying moving you to clear cognizance will help you channel those other two frequencies so that they're more neutral.
Mm-hmm. Because clear cognizance is a lot all at one time, but
clear cognizance molds the other clairs if you know how to use it. That's what they're explaining to me. It has this like very, very tiny frequency, but it's very high pitched. So the waveform is like teeny, teeny, tiny in height, and then it's very close together with the waves. Does that make sense? Did I explain that correctly? It looks like...
Yeah.
Well,
continues to draw.
Like that.
Yeah.
So clairsentience is like...
Mm-hmm. You mean claircognizance?
Yeah, sorry, claircognizance. Because your frequencies are like...
continues to draw.
This. However,
wiggle.
Your yellow frequency does this, and so does the red one, but at a different time.
What is the yellow one?
Yellow is the emotions.
Oh, I thought that's what red was.
Red is aggression. They're associated to different things. So yellow is emotional intelligence, so that's the raw physical emotions towards things. Red is trying to make you feel safe and secure, so that can be shown through aggression. So if you're seeing animals, when they are trying to protect something, they will show you aggression in order to protect the thing that is they're trying to protect, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of people associate red to aggression itself, because that's how you make things safe and secure.
I have a lot of anger.
Well, yeah, that's how it is presented, is through that red aggression. And the reason why you are expressing that anger is because you don't feel safe and secure in regards to the emotions that you feel about things. They're telling me it's because...
well, do you think it's also because I'm feeling the lack of safe and security of the person that I'm perceiving their emotions from, too?
They tell me that it's a trigger for you.
What is?
Emotions in general are a trigger for you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of your emotions were not validated when you were younger. Does that make sense to you?
Like literally 2 minutes ago?
So, because it's like when you were a child, you didn't get the like emotional space in order for you to figure out the like reasons of why things are happening. So that's why you're having a hard time like having more of a neutral state of those two things, because you had like trauma or like a rejection in regards to these like very expressive emotions. So you want to like quiet those. So you put a red wall around them, and that's where the feeling safe and secure. So when you feel these emotions, it usually is expressed through anger now, because when you were experiencing those emotions younger, you didn't get the like, it's like the lesson, or like someone didn't help explain, this is what you're feeling. This is why you're feeling it. It was kind of like, stop doing that. That's like, why are you so emotional? That type of thing. Does that make sense to you?
Well, yeah. Well, people still do the same thing, because now I'm very emotional.
Yeah.
And they're like, why are you so emotional? I'm like, you don't feel all of these things. And I want to say I was 17 or 18 when I started having such a lot of emotions. I feel like I never was somebody that would cry because they saw something cute or whatever. It would take a lot to make me emotional until I was about 17 or 18. And now I feel like the old woman that like cannot stop crying about everything.
Yeah. The difference between back then and now is that you have this red wall around the emotions in order to help keep you safe, because that's your like trigger. So when you feel these intense emotions, it like triggers a certain part of your brain. And when you were a child, when you weren't getting the validation you need about them.
Is that why words of affirmation are one of my love languages now?
They're saying it's more than just that.
I know I have more than one love language, but when I was little, we didn't really do like in my family words of affirmation. And now that I'm older, I try to tell everybody everything that could possibly be good about them to their face, whether they want it or not. My animals have such high confidence, it's ridiculous. I tell you all the time all of the things that I like about you, because I feel like it's important that someone tells you all of these good things that I think other people should say to you.
What they're showing me when you ask me that question is it's not just the words that were important. It was the feeling that someone was there.
Yeah. Words are a physical expression of emotions.
Well, they're like physically being there was the thing that you needed. You didn't need someone to say anything. Sorry. That's why I'm like, I don't know if it's just words of affirmation. It's literally you just needed someone to understand and they didn't need to say anything to you about it. It's just you didn't need someone saying stop having emotions. You just needed someone to be there and be like, I'm here, my dude. They didn't have to say anything.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Just to be there and not tell me not to do something, or that what I was feeling was stupid, or what I was thinking about was dumb. Yeah. Just accepting me.
Yeah, that's why those two frequencies are hard for you to like maintain a neutrality to, is because you never learned about it. So now you're going to learn about it in a different manner. Sorry. Oh, I had another thought. Your new spirit guide, I feel like, looks a lot like my new spirit guide, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, apparently...
They do look like each other, right?
I have a new spirit guide. I know, I was thinking about this a while ago, and I was like,
has...
why are they both coming in at the same time? Why do they both have wings? Why is one dark and one literally sunshine?
Yeah, I will...
And one's a hawk and one's a moon, like an owl.
Yeah, because I see my angel with or like spirit guide angel thing with like brown hawk wings, like tan and black speckles.
Yeah, she looks like a harpy, but obviously.
Yeah, I get it.
And if you guys don't know, this happened during one of our Patreon live streams where I was telling Liv, oh, I couldn't sleep because I was editing the YouTube video until 4 a.m. And then when I went to bed, I couldn't stop hearing so many owls, and they were so loud that that's all I could hear outside of my house while I was trying to sleep. And this prompted her to say, oh, you have a new spirit guide, in case you were wondering. Now you get to have that information, which is frustrating because if you guys have heard that podcast, and if you don't, go back and listen to it, where I literally ask Liv a question, do I have a new spirit guide? And then I tell her the story about the fact that I have been seeing freaking owls for months, and my spirit guide showed me this like vision of an owl turning its head around and me seeing this dark shadow thing behind me, and she's like, oh, that's not a new spirit guide. But there was a new spirit guide. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah.
I just remember there was a Jabberwocky.
Yeah, there was a Jabberwocky. Mm-hmm. But I also had a new spirit guide.
Oh. I can be wrong.
Yeah. So this new spirit guide, Liv, it describes her as the like essence of the moon,
the
like
halo.
The ring around a moon.
Mm-hmm.
I see her as this girl. She's like an anime girl. She has like these curtain bangs that really like swoop off to the side. They're white. Her hair's white, I mean. And she's in this white and blue dress. White and purple dress, sorry. And she's very clairvoyant and claircognizant.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at her or mine?
No, I'm looking at you.
Oh. You looked up a little bit. It made me nervous. You look up at things.
Well, yeah.
And now that I know that you look up at things.
Because they're there.
Yeah, it's because they're there. And I'm like, oh, what's happening? I don't know what's happening.
But yeah, I was thinking about it for a while, and the fact that I've been seeing Liv's new spirit guide because we obviously made this big transition of now we've quit our jobs and now we talk to dead people for a living. She literally has I view her as like the apparition of the sun because she's associated to golden energy, and then I have the apparition of the moon.
That's
so
disgustingly
it just, like,
dumb.
Freaks me out.
Twin flame bullshit.
Right? And it's also the time in which we're going to spend a lot of our life paths together.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we literally just quit our jobs to have a business together.
Yeah. When I don't see you for like 2 days, I feel like I have to tell you all of these things that happened. So, you know.
But yeah, what were we talking about?
Spiritual gifts, my dude.
What were we talking about before I talked about your spirit guides?
My emotional unintelligence.
Oh, yeah, because she's yellow. She's gold. I feel like that's what she's going to help you with. There's a lot of things she's going to help you with, but you're going to need to understand the trauma parts of your brain in order for you to, like, lighten things up.
Yeah, it's a lot. So, she's like, you thought you had to do shadow work, but you don't. I was like reading through the stuff that, you know, is at the top of the box of things that I have in my closet of sadness. And they're like, no. Now we're getting down to the bottom, like the middle of it. You're not even down to the bottom yet. So it's a good time.
Well, yeah, a lot of people ask me like, well, how do I unblock my energy? Or like, how do I like change the things that you're telling me I'm blocking? And a lot of times, most of the time, my answer is you don't have to do anything. Something is going to change that is going to change your perspective, because we have such tuned in perspectives of things. And the only way in which to change that is to have a spiritual awakening. We talk about that in one of our other metaphysical shower thoughts. But changing your perspective is the thing that gives you or allows you to see the truth. So I usually like to explain it to my clients as it's like you have a flashlight, and right now your flashlight is illuminating the things in front of you. However, your spirit guides at some point, or the universe at some point, is going to create a new chapter for you where you like, I don't know, move to a new city, break up with your 10-year-long relationship, that type of thing. It's big change. That's going to give you a new perspective. So it's like your spirit guides or the universe is turning you and facing you a different direction. And now your flashlight is revealing more of the picture in front of you. So now you're getting a different perspective, and you're getting it through your life path, through the things that you're experiencing and your different perception. A lot of times you are not going to be able to change your perception, even through shadow work. You need to do it physically. You need to actually do it within your life. So,
you linked this to changing your vibration.
What do you mean?
That's what you were talking about. It's not that you need to change or raise or lower your vibration. It's just your willingness to change.
Well,
and when I say to change, it's like your willingness for change to happen in your life, because that's what's going to alter your perspective about things around you. You need to be open to having a different viewpoint of things.
Yeah, I was going to say people have different blocks because of the emotional things. Like I was explaining with you how your frequencies happen in a very specific manner. That is similar to how I do readings for other people for these spiritual gifts. I say, you don't need to raise your vibration, you need to lower it, or you need to have keep it in a neutral state. And they're like, how do I do that? And a lot of times, like I said, it's not necessarily you doing it, it's the perspective that gives you the change in vibration. So that is how it relates back into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it because it's hard, because I know separation is an illusion, but also
wrap your brain around what?
Well, they're explaining it to me. It's a lot of people want to know physical things in which they can do to change parts of themselves for the ways that they want to change stuff. But the biggest thing about learning about spiritual and metaphysical things is that you're not dealing with something that is physical. Technically, you're dealing with energy. And that's a very fine line, because energy creates physicality. So it's basically one and the same. But a lot of people, for example, want to see or hear their spirit guides, but you're literally asking for something that is physical to come about from something that is not physical. So once you're able to get over the idea and understanding that your spirit guides aren't physical beings, so for you to see or hear them like you do one of us is kind of preposterous, and that you're able to perceive them and other metaphysical things from stuff or ways that aren't necessarily so human or relatable to physical existence. So if you come to Emily or anybody else and you're like, how do I raise or lower my frequency? And she's like, you don't have to do that. You just need to, go through, work on your spiritual awakening or work on your shadow work. But then you run into the thing of people are like, well, I already went through a spiritual awakening. I already worked on my shadow work.
Yeah, I get that a lot. If I already did all of my trauma work. I understand it now. And I'm like, and that creates room for you to do more stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not physical. Your trauma and all of that other stuff, like you probably only
it is and it isn't.
Exactly.
The way I like to explain it is through an egg. So the physical realm is the yolk of the egg, and the spirit realm is the whites of the egg. If you take the yolk out of the egg, it's still going to be covered in the whites. You can't separate them. They're still going to be like touching each other. So yes, there's this perception that they're separate. Just like in the egg, you can definitely see that the yolk is this ball, but you can't have one without the other. They're always going to be intertwined. So
yes.
Physicality is also within spirituality. So your spirit guides, like we like to talk about a lot with physical clairvoyance, can give you physical signs, and you will see that and get information.
But if you're, what is it, like skewing your own perception and limiting your own sight of things, literally and figuratively, you're not going to see the stuff that they're giving to you because you're like, I want to see you like I'm seeing Emin live on the YouTubes.
Well, you're just not going to realize it.
Exactly.
Because I know you told me that, like, your gifts have changed. But, like, I still experienced the same thing. I just didn't realize that it was psychic information.
I know. Change is learning. When you change your perception,
I don't know about
you
that.
learned something.
I think change is different. However,
I don't think so. I think change is learning. But I understand you don't see it that way, but that's fine.
So, yeah. But one of the things I wanted to do during this is to give each other readings based upon how your gifts work. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You can roast me first. We're already talking about my childhood trauma and that I wasn't validated or emotionally, like, fed.
Well, you gave me half of the information, so that's what they showed me. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's why I tell everybody things that I like about them, because I think they should know it. I also do acts of service. I'm really bad at gifts, but I try. I'll bring you a rock. I'm one of those gift givers. And then they're like, that's nice. And then they throw it out and I'm like, no.
Hey, what if I told you that the most effective workout programs shouldn't be judged on how they make you look on day 100, but how they make you feel on day 1? At Body, we know that just getting started in fitness can be overwhelming. We felt it too, which is why we created a workout, nutrition, and mindset platform that is designed to support you from the very first day. It's called Body, and it's going to change your whole relationship with fitness. Want to know more? Go to body.com now. That's BODI.com to learn more and try it free for 14 days.
Psst. Hey, Mark, remember, getting help from Progressive is so easy. You can use the mobile app, chat with us online, or call us.
And you pick now to tell me.
I couldn't miss Little Grace's ballet recital. Oh, thanks for inviting me, by the way.
Did I?
Because you know I'm always here for you.
Yeah. I can use the mobile app if I need help. Sorry, you're in my wife's seat, though?
Oh, yeah, I gotta go anyway. Tell Grace she nailed her chassé.
Get the help you need from Progressive with our mobile app, online chat, or over the phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
The first thing that they show me is it's like you're a tree with a whole bunch of roots that go out in every direction. So you pull information from every side. You like to understand things from every angle. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
You like to see things from every angle. It's like they're showing me a still life, because if you don't know, if you're an artist, a still life will look different from every angle that you are sitting, or at least a good one is. So if you're drawing a still life, the person that's sitting across from you is going to draw something completely different. You're one of those people that walks around the still life. You think in 3 dimensions, which is not a normal thing to do if you didn't realize.
No.
A lot of times that causes dyslexia. Sorry. Thinking in 3 dimensions. That's why you're able to flip letters and things upside down. Other people don't do that.
Oh. Yeah, I also like to understand why people feel certain ways, even if I don't understand it or agree with it, because if I understand your viewpoint, then maybe it'll help me better have clarity over how I feel or solidify how I do feel or don't feel. But I like learning different things that may not even be something that I agree with. So like a lot of people on the internet will be like, you and Em don't agree. Who's wrong and who's right? There isn't a wrong or a right. It's just that she feels that way and I feel this way because she's seeing one side of the still life and I'm seeing the other. And I like to know that. So
they're showing me there's like a limit
mm-hmm.
for you. And it sounds really loud and horrible. What is that?
A limit to what?
The information that you can get. It like pisses you off. Does that make sense to you?
That's probably that loud, horrible sound you're hearing. It's called anger. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, they're transitioning it to the fact of...
It sounds like a jet engine, right?
Yeah.
I can hear it.
Well, yeah, they're like, Sorry. Your spirit guide, Gojo. When Gojo speaks to me, it's always just brash. Yeah. All your other spirit guides are a lot nicer. Even Victoria, a lot nicer. He's just very, like, abrupt.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about when you block information and your ears hurt. That's the sound. He says you do it. You do it with not anger. You do it with red to make you feel safe and secure because you didn't feel safe when you were younger doing this. You didn't feel safe, so you created a wall for it. And that's why you have this weird pressure in your ear.
Mm.
So I don't experience that anymore. I get ringing sometimes, but that's because I'm not, like, paying attention. So they're like, hey, look behind you! Ring! It's like a doorbell for me.
Interesting. Is it that I'm also only able to understand so many perspectives that don't make me angry enough?
You don't want to see one of the perspectives. I don't know which one it is, but this is what they're showing me. This is your energy in the middle, and then you have this hard wall on either side, and you will not be able to hear anything up here or down here, and you created this wall. It's with your own energy. I'm not entirely sure why that's like that.
I don't know.
I don't get that usually from people.
One of the things that I have been trying to work on is not letting my anger influence how I perceive or feel things about people, like just being tolerant. Because at the end of the day, people are like, you can believe whatever it is that you want to do, but as long as you're not like hurting people or doing something bad, then it's fine. And that's kind of like what I've been trying to do is tolerance, practicing understanding one person's viewpoint, even if it's not the same as my own. And the more I understand about why and how and what shaped their idea and perception of what it is that they're sharing with me will enable me to better tolerate it and not feel like I'm not here to change things. Does that make sense?
No. What do you mean?
I'm trying to work on not changing people because I'm not supposed to change people. If there's something,
want to change them or something?
Yes, and it comes out as anger.
Oh.
I need to not let how I feel about the way people perceive things and live their lives bother me so much because there is nothing I am supposed to do to change them besides doing what it is that I do. Whether that be talking to somebody because they asked me to or just living my life how I want to. And if someone notices the way in which I live my life and is like, oh, I want to change because I like this one thing that this person is doing, then great. But like going up to someone and being like, this is the reason you're wrong because of this, and that. And this is how you need to change it. That's not for me to say. And that is where a lot of my anger comes from too.
Got you.
So I need to learn how to deal with people in like, I don't know. I think there's a saying called like grace under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I constantly feel like I'm under pressure. And that's why I have those explosions because I just need to be like, I'm not going to change it, nor is it my responsibility to change it. And if I just continue how it is that I'm going, everything will be fine.
Okay.
But that's really hard for me.
So they told me more things. So they show me you.
Which is clairsentience, because we're talking about spiritual gifts, not just my trauma.
Well, yeah. I mean, it translates clairsentience and trauma interweave.
If you were in a reading with Em right now, she would have told you all of the things that I'm telling her without you saying anything.
Oh, yeah, because I basically told you that. You're just validating the things that I told you.
Yeah. That's why we're doing this, to show the people that it's not scary.
Yeah, so what they're showing me is you are standing in the middle of this circle. This ring around you is the red energy. This is the wall that you have for things, for people. On the inside, you have those like roots that I was explaining, that come from all angles because you like to know things from all angles. And on the inside, there are 3 colors. There's green, yellow, and orange, which is why a lot of the information that you get is physical or emotions or associated to understanding people's path in life. Those are the things that usually your readings are about. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they're usually about physical things.
The outskirts of this wall, so they're telling me that this red wall is kind of like the cell wall on like
a
plants.
Semi-permeable membrane. Oh, well, that's
No, like the cell wall in a plant cell. It's hard. It's hard to get in. It's heavy. It's thick. It's keeps you safe, or you think it does. On the outside, you have blue and purple. That's the stuff your spirit guides are trying to allow you to have access to, is the blue and purple stuff.
on the outside of the red?
Yes, you get it, but you can see that I drew this. On the outside, there's less roots because less things can go under this red wall in order to receive that information. So a lot of times you get it, but you don't want to accept it. So it has a hard time getting through this thick wall. The blue and purple, blue is associated to understanding, but a spiritual understanding of things. So when spirits come to you and tell you information, it's overwhelming. It's hard for you to accept, which is why it's outside of this red wall. Purple energy is, sorry, they're telling me things about it. Purple energy is psychic energy. It's mental energy. It's the mental space. That is also on the outside of the wall. And it's because purple, they're showing me how things like filter and color theories. So purple is made between blue and red. So your red wall filters a lot of this purple energy and makes it just red energy. So a lot of times things get missed in that kind of sense when things are like very
Wait, is that
disconnected from physicality.
Wait, purple is blue and red?
Mm-hmm.
Is that why my outside wall is red and then it's blue on the outside?
Based on the drawing that I drew?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the aura drawing that we gave for Cass today. She has a lot of green energy because she has blue and yellow.
Yeah. So you
I
have
have red and blue, so I have purple.
Yeah, but the purple energy is out here too.
It's outside of the blue?
Okay, let me explain it again. So you have this red wall that keeps things out. On the outside of the wall, you have blue and purple. So with that being the case, this is going to allow, or you are not allowing this blue and purple information to come in. So purple energy is the understanding of this heavy energy, which is why a lot of times purple feels heavy. So it's understanding that like safety and security and understanding like the root cause of things versus this blue energy, which is very high vibrational and spiritual, that understanding on a spiritual level. Those are the two things that come together to give you more of a like psychic, mental, that type of thing, things that are very disconnected from physicality. So this is the stuff that is not getting through this wall here. So the purple energy, because it's made up of blue and red, is being translated to red energy. So a lot of times this information that almost like comes from nowhere, a lot of times is a safety and security thing that comes in. Does that make sense to you? It like filters the blue out.
Kind of.
Which is the understanding. Because I feel like a lot
of... Is that why I'm struggling with claircognizance? Because claircognizance is just understanding things. And I'm like, why? I need to know why.
Claircognizance.
And they're like, it doesn't matter why. That's what they've been trying to tell me. It doesn't matter why. You just have to accept it. That's why I have anger. Because I'm like, why is this person shitty? Why did this person do that? Why did they do this? Do they even know that what they're doing is horrible? Why? Why do I have to be nice to this person if they're not a nice person? And they're like...
You don't want to know the answer, though.
Well, it's not that I don't want to know the answer. It's that I do want to know the answer, but it's going to make me more angry.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to know the answer.
It's because why doesn't matter. That's the thing, though. Why doesn't matter. And that annoys me. It does
matter, but you just don't like the why. Sorry.
I don't agree with that because I do know the whys of some of them, and it's just that I don't.
I know. I'm telling you that, too. You have little roots that come out here, so you understand why, but you don't accept it.
What do you mean?
So if I was a really shitty person that was like a serial killer, and I told you I was a serial killer because, I don't know, my mom like beat me or something, you would be like, that doesn't warrant you for being a shitty person. Make sense?
Well, yeah.
You don't accept the information. You understand why. But
No.
You don't accept it.
That's the thing, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, and I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I accept it. No, I accept it, but I still have human emotions of, I understand why. However, I still disagree. So fuck you.
When I channel, I don't do that.
I need to get over the fuck you of it. No. When I talk to strangers, much easier. It's in my personal life that I struggle with. Personally,
I think it's more than that. Sorry, I only think that because they tell me it. But yeah. So that's why the purple energy that you know, which is with blue, gets filtered in this red that makes you feel safe and secure. So it creates a narrative. Does that make sense?
yeah,
It
I
creates
just
a safe
need
and secure
a
narrative.
why. The why is the thing that I
Get
need.
the why, but you don't think it explains things. Makes sense?
I don't know. Maybe I will when I edit this.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, because you're getting the blue Y in that purple, but you're trying to filter out the blue, which is that true understanding, that like omnipresence understanding. You understand it in a red way, which is a like grounded, secure way, but it can also be shown as anger if it is something that infiltrates the boundary of, do I feel safe and secure type of thing. Makes sense? Do you have questions?
maybe. What are my gifts? Since we've covered clairsentience and how it plagues me.
Gojo is laughing.
Well, I'm glad you guys can have a fucking chuckle.
He annoys me. Very much annoys me. You want to know how red energy comes in for me? Fucking Gojo. He annoys the shit out of me.
Interesting.
He's very rude. So Gojo is Liv's spirit guide. I see him as an expanse of clouds. The other, I don't know if I did this in a podcast where I asked you how information comes in from him, and you told me that it comes in very different ways. So when I do readings like this, where I do spirit guide or spiritual gifts readings, I will talk to your spirit guides, and the way in which they communicate with me is the way in which your gifts work or the way in which your brain works. And each one of your spirit guides has a different energy signature, and they speak in a very different way. So like I said, Rosaline speaks in a very claircognizant way where she strings together thoughts. That's how I know it's Rosaline every single time. For Gojo is extremely claircognizant. Extremely. But it's funny because Liv is not claircognizant. She is, but she doesn't like, they want me to say you need validation to know that it's true. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I need supporting details. Because that's my thing. If I don't accept things unless there's a why. Claircognizance doesn't give me the why. And they're like, it does. It's just not the why in which you want it given to you.
So Gojo explains your other clairs to you using claircognizance. I know that's like a big thing, but like I told you before, I had this reading with someone who they'll probably know who they are. And I explained to them they are clairaudient and they are claircognizant. And it's almost like they don't have to experience the other clairs because they experience it with claircognizance. They already know how something feels, so they don't have to feel it. They already know what something smells like, tastes like, looks like, and sounds like. They don't have to experience doing it again in their head or otherwise. So claircognizance absorbs all of those other clairs, and that's how he gives you information. It's like he uses claircognizance and then like splits out these different ways in which you receive information, which is why you perceive him giving you all of the clairs, because he is very claircognizant and he's going to make you that. Where you don't need all of your other clairs, they just get translated into, I already know how this feels.
Yeah, that's how he explained claircognizance to me. It's all other 5 clairs at once, so much so that they're synonymous and don't really have a distinction between them because separation is an illusion. I used to think that claircognizance was the lack of all of the other 5 clairs. He's like, it's not the lack thereof, it's all of them at once.
Your blue guy,
Blue man dude?
yeah, he is very clairsentient and clairvoyant, which is why that's the thing you rely on the most.
Yeah. Victoria is very claircognizant and clairsentient.
Victoria is clairsentient and then clairvoyant. and clairaudient. Because she shows me fire. Every time I talk to her, she's fire energy. That's her, like, energy signature. So that's what she shows me every time I talk to her. She makes me see it, hear it, and she smell, too.
Mm-hmm.
And smell it. It's like she paints pictures for you. But, like, the picture, like I said, is 3D. It's like you're there.
Yeah. She looks like, okay, you know, if you will read The Immortal Instruments, there's a character who has fiery red, curly orange hair.
Mm-hmm.
That's the color hair that she has. I forget what her name is. Clarissa is the character's name, and she's a shadow hunter, and shadow hunters go demon hunting in these full black, like, dominatrix looking outfits, like leather, whatever, and that's what she wears. So
If I didn't know that and didn't know you, I would tell you that she was a place.
What place would she be?
So I've been watching The Sandman on Netflix.
Oh, Sandman!
One of the nightmares that he creates, or one of the dreams, I don't know if he's a nightmare or not, is an actual place. And he left the dream realm and became, like, a person. And that's what she tells me that she's like. She's a place. So that's why she's all of those things, because it's like you're actually, like, in a simulator where she tells you all of this information about things.
What? What does her place look like?
Whatever she wants it to look like. She's a simulator.
I'm so confused.
You are very visual, so that's why you're asking, what does she look like? However, I'm telling you she's a location that can look however she wants to look, because she's a spiritual being. Doesn't matter what she looks like.
Location, location, location.
I'm telling you that she told me something, but I also don't think you're going to believe me. So I'm trying to decide if I want to tell you.
Is she like Montui?
Well, she tells me, you know how you explain that souls have the ability to manifest the location around them?
Montuuni. I think that's how you say.
She does that.
Montanui. Montanui. It's the island in Moana. Montuuni. Montanui. It's the island that is on fire and, like, screeches and throws things at you, but it's because they didn't give her the piece, so then she turns back into an island, but she looks like a person laying down, but she's an island.
Victoria.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, got it.
Yep.
Is that why she's crappy right now? Because she's not an island? She has to help my bitch ass?
You just don't like the fact that she's trying to do things. Okay. She's explaining to me, you're red energy, she's red energy, which is why you butt heads. It's like going through it's like two people run into a bar.
Yeah, who does The Rock play in Moana? I really like that she's using Moana to explain this to me, because Moana is one of my favorite movies.
I do not know. I've watched it like once.
What?
Not that I would remember it the second time.
Maui.
Twice. Oh, the big dude?
Yeah.
That has the tattoos that change?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's played by Dwayne The Rock Johnson, voice actor.
Oh, I thought you said he was a rock. Got it.
He's a demigod.
I was like, I don't think he looks like a rock. He looks like a dude with that forgot leg day.
That's me. That's why I don't like Victoria. I'm Maui. She's Montanui.
Yeah, but she's trying to help you understand why you have the red energy. But again, it's like you both are running into a hard place. It's like boom, boom. So that's why she tries to be fire, to get around it. You don't like it. She doesn't like it. It's just how it goes. They're very similar.
Need to learn how to work with love and understanding more in a three-dimensional way.
She's trying to help you.
I get it.
Understand the red. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to understand things three-dimensionally, but I can't do it with love and understanding, which is why it's hard for me.
Your rock monster amplifies things for you. So the stuff that
does he amplify it or does he quiet it?
Both.
Okay, because I feel like he quiets it.
Both.
Okay.
It makes it more of a clear sound. Does that make sense to you? Because they're showing me this stuff that's out here, the like purple and blue stuff outside of your red circle. He tries to amplify that stuff by making this stuff entire quiet. Because the stuff that's near you is the stuff that's loud. Does that make sense?
Oh, it's what is it? Subjective.
I guess.
Yeah. because I feel like he quiets things for me.
Well, yeah.
But he quiets the things in the circle so that I can hear the things out of the circle. And in the circle is me, and out of the circle is the stuff I need help with.
Yeah, what he shows me is he's surrounding you, like you're inside of him, like he's a cave.
Like he ate me like a pie.
And because
Help me.
he's a cave, he can echo the things that are farther away so that they're amplified for you to hear. But because he's also a cave, he keeps out the noisy stuff. That's also why you have a yellow guide. So yellow and red are the things that you need help with or you need to understand.
And that's
better.
the exact colors of my chakra too. Remember that? Sorry, they just had to troll me with that visual fuckery.
Because that's what Shaggy is. Shaggy's the thing that you needed when you were a kid. You needed someone to be there. He's someone that's there. And that's why you physically feel him. Like when he laid on top of you, that's the feeling that they were explaining that you didn't have when you were young. You don't need someone telling you about what your emotions are. You just need someone to be there.
And not tell me what they aren't.
Yeah, because you could figure it out. You just needed someone to be like supportive.
Yeah, I get it. It's what I wrote. I needed acceptance of myself from others through understanding and quiet, which is why I struggle with that.
That's why he doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah.
He's literally just there to help you understand yourself.
Oh, it's so cute. I'm not going to cry because I have too much anger. Literally, so much anger right now. I'm sure I've just scared you like 8,000 times today, so I'm sorry.
I'm used to it.
That's good.
How is that all the spirit guides I got for you?
You didn't talk about my hawk lady very much. You just talked about how they're opposites.
Oh, yeah. She's not fully stepped forward, which is why I don't get a lot of information from her yet, because there's a lot of things that you need to figure out first before she like is truly here. One of which is this yellow energy, because when we were talking earlier, she was showing me how yellow energy turns into gold energy. Yellow energy is lower vibrational, and then she makes me hear this like jet engine going off, and that's how you're going to raise your vibration so that the yellow energy is more controlled, because she's like, that energy is powerful. It's also healing. That's why there's two sides of the yellow energy. Does that make sense to you?
I see the yellow energy as like uncontrolled current, whereas gold energy is seen as higher vibrational because it has a tighter frequency. Like the peaks and troughs are closer together.
Yep.
Which is why it's more helpful, because it's condensed, whereas yellow energy is not condensed. It's more chaotic, has more room to bounce and ricochet off of things.
Mm-hmm. That's what she's going to help you with. But again, there's a lot of stuff I can't know about.
Yeah, I get it. I feel like that's not going to happen until there's kids. Because there's things that I'm not going to be able to work on shadow work wise until that happens.
Before that happens.
I fucking hope so.
No, she is.
Well, that's good.
Because you need to figure it out before you have kids. She's making me feel like you're going to see more of her in the middle of next year. I don't know why. It has something to do with our business.
The middle of next year? Mm-hmm. When is that? Like
summertime?
Ugh. That's so far away.
Yeah, because that's when things are going to start going really quickly, because she shows me like multiple lines of like things that we can do and things that we're going to do. Like we'll have a lot of options and a lot of things happening out at once. Like multiple trains of thought.
Now what?
You got any other questions before you read me? But yeah, I like doing spiritual gifts readings because it works well with my brain. But sometimes I'll do tarot readings if you don't have questions, just to fill the space.
I don't know how I'm supposed to read you. I'm too self-absorbed and angry.
I just read you. I didn't think I would be able to because I know too many things about you. Do you need a moment to write things down? Because I know you can do it.
They're just telling me that you get information like the people on the paper cups, like from The Wires.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's really cute. It's almost like they have to give you things in a very quiet way.
Yeah, that's why Gojo and I don't get along.
Because he just grabs the paper cup and screams through it. You
He's
guys know,
very
like,
blunt.
the tin cans that are connected by a wire? That's how Emily receives information. That's what they're telling me.
The way in which he told me, he was talking about your ears and how you put pressure on them. And he was like being rude about it. And I was like, okay.
That's funny.
Because he's him. So
yeah, it's like when
how I know he's talking.
Souls and spiritual beings step up to you, the stuff that we see is like the projection of it. But when our spirit guides have them speak to us, which gives us the perception of the spirits or spirits guides talking directly to us, is them giving them the other tin can and the other one's connected to your ear. And they're like, okay, you gotta talk like this. And she'll hear you like that, just so you know.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's why you look at things up on a shelf, because they are energetically up there, but you're all the way down here because you're sensitive to everything. So your little tiny frequency energy is like, ba-da! And they're like, ah! So they gotta speak into the cup clearly. It's really nice.
And if you guys don't know, in one of our other podcasts, Liv talks about how I can see things on like planes of existence. And I explained to her that the way in which I get information is it's like I'm in an elevator and the elevator stopped in between 2 floors and opened, and I can see things on the top floor and on the bottom floor. And that's how I talk to spirit guides. And it means different things.
And when you amplify things like your energy, because I know we've talked about protection in another podcast that may or may not have come out yet, like spiritual protection, you talk about, they told me that you like anchor yourself with this darkness to the floor.
Mm-hmm. So it's easier.
Yeah, most people would, like me, I change the frequency of my energy. I like fucking hop, skip, and a jump to different wires and wavelengths. You just add more of the same to make it bigger.
Yeah, because generally my anxiety causes my mediumship to shut off. That's the energy that I have at a constant rate. And then when I do readings, it's like I and drop it all into the floor.
Yeah, so like this little squiggle is you, and then like this little squiggle is me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When I do readings and say there's a spiritual being that's up here or a spiritual being that's down there, so like over here, you know, I go like this. You, if there's a spiritual being up here or a spiritual being down there, go like this. Fill in the space with the same energy, but just make more of them.
Yeah, so can you explain that again, since you said this and that and this and that?
Yeah, so my frequency is a little bit like, it has more peaks and troughs just normally. And if I need to raise or lower my energy in order to better communicate or receive the spiritual energy frequency from whatever or whoever it is that I'm talking to, I will just change, either heighten or lower my frequency in order to meet them at either above or below wherever my normal state is. M, however, has this little tiny little thing. It's like, but she M says I take up a lot of space.
She does metaphysically too, it seems like.
So anyways, well, it gives people a funny relation, you know? So M has her tiny little, frequency, but instead of just making her energy go up and down more like lengthwise, but still keeping one frequency, she makes a whole bunch of little tiny frequencies to cover and fill up the space in between the frequency ranges of whatever spiritual being she's trying to talk to. So
that's why I miss things.
For me, if you have like imagine if one person is holding a rope and then the rope or string is attached to another side of the wall by a piece of tape. You'll wiggle the rope up and down like those exercise things that they make you do. If you do it normally, you're going to be able to see on a video camera, if you slow it down, the peaks and the troughs of the wire. However, if I need to meet something higher or lower, I'm going to shake that freaking rope a lot faster to try and make the energy higher or lower. Emily just keeps jiggling her rope at one frequency and then leaves, comes back, and puts more ropes in there to figure it out.
Yeah. No, it's like if you see it with a flashlight, it's like you have a normal flashlight normally. And then when you're like, I need to see more things, you get a bigger flashlight so you can see more space. I use a laser beam and I just point at things and I'm like, yeah, I see it. Okay. I see more things. Okay.
No. You keep one laser beam. You just pull out 37 from your pocket and turn them all at the same time on.
Oh, no, it happens one by one. Just do. That's why I ask you questions.
Yeah.
Because I get one piece of information. because I can only see the one piece of information through the one little laser beam going out.
Yeah, and they're telling me that when you go through what I'm going through right now, this whole change, that's what you're going to have to do. You're not going to be able to use a whole bunch of frequencies anymore and just throw things out like spaghetti noodles and see what catches. You're going to have to learn how to change your single frequency.
Yeah, that's why I have a spirit guide coming in that deals with white light. She's going to light things up like the moon. Because I talk to people about the moon in tarot. It's usually dealing with being afraid of the unknown. So I explain it's like walking around in the dark. However, if you're in the dark long enough, the moon's going to allow your eyes to see things. So she's going to light things up in the dark for me. Or help me do it.
You're going to start getting more clairsentient things too.
Already have. They've been explaining clairsentience to me.
Yeah, but it's going to be hard for you because you don't like physical clairsentience.
Because I experience it all the time.
So when Em gives readings to people about their spiritual gifts, we usually tell you what clairs of the 6 clairs you are experiencing right now, which can change. You can get more, or your clairs can, like, their capabilities can change too, which means how well you can use them and in what ways. So that's usually what we tell you is you are really clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairgustant, or you're very clairaudient, claircognizant, and clairsentient. Things like that. But Em and
I tell them their strongest clairs because I feel like everyone has a conglomeration of all of them.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's why I said that they can get more or learn and understand different facets of them. So, but you and I aren't really saying that because we experience all 6 clairs. So tasting the spiritual, smelling the metaphysical.
Already understand how your gifts work, which is why I was talking to you about the rest of the information. Because that's what you needed information about. I give you the perspective you're interested in knowing.
My shadow work.
So if you were someone that didn't know they were a psychic medium or were unaware of your psychic gifts, I would be talking about how your clairvoyance works, but you already know how that works.
Yeah, I do.
And I kind of explained it more to you in the fact that you see things in a 3-dimensional space because other people don't.
Yeah, but it's really hard for me to put 3-dimensional things onto a 1-dimensional surface, and that's something that frustrates me.
Gee, I wonder why.
That's why I liked ceramics class. It was a lot easier. My robotics teacher also hated me because in high school, I was on a robotics team. I was the team captain, and my robotics, I don't know, there was like 4 or 5 teams in our high school, and the guy that was like the shop teacher who ran the robotics teams like collectively hated me because he was like, you need to make an AutoCAD drawing of your schematic layout. And I'm like, here's a cardboard cutout that I made that's a scale replica model. Suck it. He hated me because because we were the only all-girls team. Every other team, the guys were like huffing CAD and just like drinking Mountain Dew and only doing things on like literally CAD, like Auto Inventor.
Yeah.
And I refused to do that because it was stupid. It was 1-dimensional. And they're like, I'm going to make something 3D and a 1D. And I was like, that absolutely makes no sense to me. I'm not going to learn how to do it on the computer. Suck my foot. And then we won. But yeah, so it's interesting that you say I'm good at seeing 3D because I've always been told by other people that I'm bad at it.
That's how your brain works. You see in 3 dimensions, which is why it's hard to make it smaller. That's why it's why words are hard. Dyslexia.
Interesting.
I saw a TikTok where they were talking about, oh, you don't count because dyslexia causes you to think in 3 dimensions.
Interesting.
Yeah, they were talking about the difference between seeing images versus hearing an inner monologue. And this guy comes in and is like, what are you guys talking about? And they were like, you don't count because you're dyslexic. You think in 3 dimensions. That's why you're able to switch words up and down.
Switch words like visually?
No, I mean like 2s and 5s are hard for me because I think in a 3-dimensional space, so I flip them over.
Yeah, 2s, 5s, S's, 3s.
Other people
8s.
aren't dyslexic when they don't think in 3-dimensional spaces.
1s and 7s.
So
I had a teacher make fun of me once because I made my 1s look like 7s, but to me they looked like 1s because 1s look like L's or I's. She made fun of me in front of the class about it.
Dyslexia.
That's fun.
Neurodivergence. That's why it goes under neurodivergence. It's because
Are you
fit
get a lot of
them.
information from touching things?
I don't know. No. I mean, on a physical level.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I touch everything. Autism. Sorry.
No. On a spiritual level, because I'm asking, they're making me feel like when you touch things, you get claircognizant or clairvoyant information. You also get clairaudient information, but clairsentience is like harder for you because it gets jumbled. So claircognizant and clairaudient and clairvoyant is easier for you. Because if you take the emotions away from a picture and take it literally, it's a lot easier for you. Whereas if you were to add emotions to it, now you don't know what the picture actually means because it feels different than the way it is supposed to make sense to you.
Autism.
That's why tarot is helpful to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or why you started with tarot. Because when you touch them, it gives information for you.
Weird.
Which is why you don't actually have to read the tarot cards. They're just there. Same thing with writing. That's why you haven't had to, you've been transitioning from using your tarot cards to just writing things down.
Got you. It makes it more real. That's why I do it. Because I have a hard time accepting information. Because I'm like, is that me or is that you? I don't know who's talking. I'm talking, you're talking, we sound the same.
Yeah, but it's like when you're talking to someone and people fidget. It's like either they have something in their hands or they like do weird hand things. I do this a lot. Whatever. It makes it easier to talk to somebody if you're doing something else because it allows your brain to focus on whatever it is that you're thinking about. So when you're writing things down or touching tarot cards, you dissociate from the physical thing that you're actually touching and are able to tune into whatever it is that you're doing. That's why non-neurodivergent people get annoyed that you're fidgeting because they can't just focus on whatever it is that you're doing. They, whatever. Or I get annoyed though. If I'm talking to someone and there's like something on in the background, I'm like, I can only listen to one thing.
Oh yeah, no. I have two trains of thought at all times. I was talking to one of those people on our Patreon only live. I have an inner monologue that is supported by either seeing things or knowing things simultaneously because the inner monologue doesn't shut off ever.
Yeah.
So I have two trains of thought.
I get it. If I'm physically talking, I can think about something else.
Well, that's also why reading is hard because I'm like, I'm thinking about the beginning of the sentence, but I'm also reading the end of the sentence. So what do I say now?
Oh, and you're thinking about what's going to happen next and in the last chapter.
Yeah, it's a very like ADHD way of thinking because I need to know the end before I can know the beginning, but also I'm reading the beginning and knowing the end of the sentence at the same time.
I don't like to watch new things on television.
So a lot of times when you see me read, for whatever reason, I'll start saying the end of the sentence even though I'm not looking at it. So I have a hard time, and the words switch because I'm literally reading the sentence from the outwards in. You're welcome.
So touching things helps you, since that's what we're talking about. This is an hour and 21 minutes of absolute chaos, just so you know.
I think it's a good one.
I hope people like it, because this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Me either, but I also need you to tell me things like this. Because I need someone to tell me things that are real in my head, which is why I give spiritual gift readings.
We have a lot of purple and yellow, too.
Always. That's usually what my aura color is.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm glad it's still the same.
Yeah. Yellow and purple. Why are they yellow and purple?
Purple's on the outside, yellow's on the inside. Mm-hmm. That's how you see through people, but it's also hard for you because you don't understand the clairsentience.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it. I just don't know how to, like, portray it to people. So I get feelings about things, and I have to be like, okay, what do I feel? Because I can give you one of these, like, random titles that people, like, it's a very autistic way of feeling things. So neurotypical people are like, this is what happy looks like. This is what contempt looks like. So I try to, like, put a hat on all of those in the neurotypical way, but it doesn't make sense to me because I'm not neurotypical. So that's why that's hard for me.
The labels don't make sense to you?
Yeah.
Happiness doesn't make sense to you?
Yeah, but it's not happiness. Nothing is just happiness. I'm autistic.
Well, yeah, happiness is a whole bunch of different feelings that make it happiness.
Yeah, but people are like, it's happy. And I'm like, it's not happy.
That's just like colors. Like this isn't blue. It's more yellow blue than it is blue blue. There's more yellow in it than there is green. So it makes it more of a yellow blue than a blue blue. People don't see that. It's the same thing with happy.
They try to simplify things, so that's hard for my brain to like process that, which is why clairsentience is hard for me, because I'm like, okay, I have all of these hats that I can use to describe what I'm feeling, but it's weird that I have to translate what I'm feeling into words. So that's where I get stuck, because you will have readings with me and I will straight up be like, your spirit guides are very clairsentient. Give me a second. I got to figure out how to say this into words.
Oh, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll use way too many words and then someone's like, oh, that person is angry. And I was like, oh.
Autistic.
I thought that saying grumbly, anxious, demanding, loud, intrusive were all words to describe angry.
Yep.
And they simplify it and I'm like, man, I've been jumbling on for like 10 minutes with adjectives and I could have just said that. Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
Interesting. Just ramble on like I do. They'll give you one. Because I just keep going.
Well, sometimes I don't know where to start. And then I have a hard time separating it from between me and them. Because obviously I'm going to have a human emotion about things. So I'm like, is that me or is that you? It's always, am I talking or are you talking at all times?
Is music important to you?
I'm clairaudient. Sorry.
I know, but you and I don't really like listen to music or talk about music together. They're telling me that music's important to you.
Yeah. Music is weird because a lot of
it helps you with your clairsentience.
A lot of other people are like, I hear music because I'm clairaudient. That doesn't happen. I usually know music, which is why I can't tell you the lyrics, nor can I tell you what it's called. So yeah.
What do you mean?
When I have music come in my readings, I usually have to be like, you know that movie, like The Jungle Book, and they sing that song with the bear? I will have no idea what the song is called, nor any of the lyrics. I just know that it's a song that I want.
Yeah, I'm just saying, without being in a reading, music is important to you.
Well,
it
yeah.
helps you understand clairsentience. But I don't know that because you don't talk about music with me.
Yeah, because it's weird.
No, it's not weird. I talk about everything about me to you, and then I feel like I'm a emotional and physical burden because all I do is word vomit on top of you.
Uh-huh.
And then you don't say anything. So
clairsentience. How would I explain that to you? I just told you I have a hard time explaining things like that to you.
I know, and they're telling me that music helps you understand clairsentience.
Yeah.
I am going to help you learn how to explain it. You're
Ugh,
welcome.
Gross.
Twin flame
A
bullshit.
lot of fire.
Yeah, we just figured out that I am not a Capricorn in my zodiac sign, and it honestly is a...
Makes more sense.
What is it
He's
called?
a Sagittarius and not a Capricorn.
Existential crisis.
I feel like you'd have more of an existential crisis being a Capricorn.
I just was like, I kind of related to it, kind of didn't. And I was like, this is fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I can live with that, you know? And then I found out that it's a Sagittarius instead. So I'm a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, and I just don't know what to do with myself now.
Bada bing, bada boom, bada bow. All fire. Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a side of myself that I just never knew. Like I slept walk and somehow I was a serial killer for like every time that I slept walk. That's how I feel. And I'm just learning now that I'm like the hash slinging slasher, but I just never knew because the whole time I thought I was sleeping. That's how I feel about learning that Sag is in my signs. So we should do an updated zodiac thing where we go more in depth about things.
We can.
That would be fun. Because the fact that my Mercury is in Libra also makes a lot of fucking no sense.
Is it your Libra or your Mars? Or is it both?
Wait, Mars.
Mars is your passion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The way in which you get things done is supposed to be Mars is in Aries, right?
Mars is ruled by Aries.
Yeah, and I'm a Libra Mars. That's what it is, not Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury is communication.
How does that make any sense? I'll tell you, it doesn't.
What does? In
Mars and Libra.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
What it does to you.
I know, but it makes everything so much harder.
Well, duh.
Why couldn't I just have another fire sign there like it's supposed to be?
I have a water sign.
That's okay. That gives you options.
Does it?
Yes. It's also funny because it's emotional. That's something you don't understand.
Disgusting.
You guys want to have a spiritual gifts reading?
Wait,
with
I got
M?
a question. You didn't ask me if I had any questions. You're like, I don't want to edit anymore. Tell me about my spirit guides. I have 2 questions.
Okay.
That's the first question.
Tell
me about my spirit guides. How I told you about your spirit guides.
I feel like I'm at a sleepover and everyone's just here listening to our sleepover conversation. Oh,
We're
I
in our
forgot we're in
shower.
the shower. If you guys feel like you're clouded with your judgment and understanding of your spiritual gifts,
Make sure to blow that steam away.
yes, that's what I was just going to say. You got to the steam off the side of the window. And when you do, it'll just be Em and I looking with our eager faces.
With our towels.
Gosh darn it.
It's all coming together.
Wow. Your spirit guides.
Yeah, I want to hear about them from your perspective. It'll make me feel better on the inside.
Serendipity helps you with your emotions.
Uh-huh. She's very
She's
clear.
Very claircognizant, but she's claircognizantly going to help you understand your emotions, which is interesting because it's the way that you'll understand them better. Finea helps you with clairaudience. She helps serendipity with that, though. It's like she filters the information with her. They like work together to give you information because vibrations can travel through water, and that's where Sarah lives. You're welcome.
And Finea is light.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Didn't
a
she
light
talk about that?
What?
She's light, like into the water.
I don't know. I just know her as light because you say that she's a fairy and she's associated with light itself.
Yeah.
Physical light.
Yeah. My neck hurts.
Cut it off. You don't need it.
No, you're right. I don't. Excelsion hasn't been bothering anybody. Excelsior. Excelsion.
Hasn't been bothering anyone?
He's more like a supporting character.
What does that mean?
He helps you with communicating with your grandfather.
The one that walks next to me?
Mm-hmm.
Or the one that you talk to?
The one that walks next to you.
Why do I need to talk to him?
Because you ask him things constantly.
Why isn't he answering?
Yeah, but that's the thing. He is answering that we don't talk to people. Our spirit guides are the ones that give us the perception of talking to souls.
It's just weird that it's just him doing it.
It's because he's little.
I don't know what that means.
It's not just him, but he's like the other ones help you more with things for you. This guy doesn't really help things with like for you. He helps with communication between you and your grandpa, which is really funny because he shows me himself like running down your arm and down the side of your leg and then like that's him running down your leg, running over to your grandpa, having a conversation with him, and then running back, going up your arm, and then whispering it in your ear. Because he also deals with clairaudience. That's hilarious. Because he's really tiny.
Uh-huh.
And he hates that I'm like, you're not important, you're a supporting character. He's all fucking show you supporting character.
I also feel like he doesn't really like talking to you.
No, for sure not.
Every
He does
time you
not
talk
like
about him,
me.
He's like, do not see the man behind the carton.
Yeah. I'm also like, oh, you're so tiny and cute. These are not tiny
I
and cute.
do.
I'll show you.
I ate nails for breakfast without any milk.
Uh-huh. And I'm just like, oh, let me pinch your cheeks. So,
And he has such a big name.
yeah. And he's like 3 inches tall. It's hilarious. Your moon guy is going to help you with emotions too.
That's what the moon is associated to.
So that's what they got for you. They make me hear like a book slamming shut. So the next chapter, the new book.
Oh, that's why she's coming in.
Mm-hmm. You're going to write
I
the
mean, I
new
know
one
that.
because you guys have been like reading the last one and now you're going to start writing the new one.
Mm-hmm.
Do with that what you will. She's got to bird feather quill pen, so it's funny. It's extremely detailed because it's white.
Mm-hmm. Always.
That's funny. She's like, you have to explain exactly what you see. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to know everything about you because I have emotions and I want to hide them with knowing things about you.
Jesus Christ. You got another question?
Yeah, Zeroth and Rosaline. Oh, and then my dragon. You got 3 of those, and then I want to know another thing, and then that's it. I know this is long, but people like it. Yeah? No? Yeah? Mm-hmm.
What do you want to know about them?
Read them like I don't know who my spirit guides are. What do they do for me?
Your red dragon, who looks like a Chinese dragon who's red and gold, he helps you with passive echolocation of your direction in life. So like people have a spirit guide that guides them in the right direction. He does that, but with your weird echolocation shit. Mm-hmm. So he like runs down the path and then shakes like a dog and his scales jingle. And you're like, oh, it's that way. And he's like, come on, here, snipey, snipey, snipe. And You're like, oh, you're over there. And he's like, uh-huh.
Yeah, they describe me as the page of wands in tarot, and he's the king of wands. He knows what he's doing, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Here, snipey, snipey, snipe.
But every time I see him, his scales make this, like, chitter noise.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh, well, I'm glad I could explain that to you.
Mm-hmm. I know you have a lot of bias around the other two.
No, they're like your mom and dad, but that's what Zeroth wants me to say, and Rosaline's like, I'm not her mom. I'm not your mom.
Not the mama.
But Zeroth is like, yes, we are. We're in a relationship. And she's like, please don't fucking talk to me. You smell bad. You smell like Axe body spray. And he's like, I could change it for you. Baby, I love you. And she's like, I hate you so much.
He's like, look at your man. Now look back at me. Now look at your man. Now look back at me. I'm the man your man can smell like. Old Spice.
Yeah, that's him.
That's Rob.
And Rosaline's like, no, that's not how this is going. And he's like, but we had 3 kids. And she's like, what are you talking about? Because that's exactly what I do to you. So Briley told me that he doesn't want to use Young Gravy by Magic by Young Gravy for our garter song, and it really makes me sad.
Well,
what am I supposed to do now?
Tell me what Zeroth does to give me information.
To give you information?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to help you tell me about him, because I obviously know who he is. He's very good at making himself known. Yeah,
but talking about Zeroth makes me think how sad I am that Bradley doesn't want to have the same energy as him, because Zeroth and I vibe hard.
Yeah, he's the closest one to Gojo, but he's not as crude.
Well, yeah, Gojo...
He says he likes to make things colorful for me.
Who, Gojo or Zeroth?
Zeroth.
No, Zeroth is like All Might. He knows when to, like, need to,
Don't fear, I am here.
Yeah, he knows when to coddle and be sweet to children, whereas Gojo is...
Get over it, you big baby.
Is
That's
like...
Gojo.
What is it called? He's like a Eraserhead mixed with actual Gojo.
Okay. I don't know who Eraserhead is, you mean?
Oh,
you mean in...
Yeah, in My Hero.
Okay.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
Azura?
Yeah.
Something like that, but they call him Eraserhead?
Yeah.
He's like actual Gojo Yowaimo mixed with Eraserhead. Of like, you're going to flunk and fail if you can't learn how to do this. So I'm going to tell you you're a bitch, but also, Yowaimo, did you see this drawing that I made? It's in crayon. And I'm like, oh, that looks exactly what it looks like. And it actually looks like nothing like it. That's why people are like, do my grandparents actually look like this and that? And I only get the crayon drawing of it because it doesn't matter to Gojo.
He's like, you know what'll be funny? If we stop giving her crayon drawings, instead of giving her people, let's just give her random things and see how she does.
Finger puppets.
Let's try finger puppets now.
Literally finger puppets.
Fucking Gojo.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does he do? Zeroth. Not Gojo.
We already know that he like encompasses you with like being nice. He tells dad jokes. He's like your spiritual dad.
You're funny.
I don't think he has just one Claire that he does things for you for. He shows me that his cloudness is like kinetic, like little lightning bolts and shit. And you get different. Oh, okay. The things that you put out, the stuff that we were talking about. how you make a whole bunch of them. He lets you make a whole bunch of them. That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
Got
I was
it.
waiting for you to get that. 'Cause I was
Fuck
like, I
both
could
of you.
tell you, but also I just want to hear it.
You're all just trolling me because that's not how they should give me information. It's not what I'm used to. They keep showing me, you know, those like a box of peanuts and you open it and it says peanuts and all those little like springy boys pop out instead. That's what they keep showing me for your gift is the springy peanuts.
God.
You're welcome.
Yeah, he encompasses me and allows me to perceive things through his media of being a cloud. That's why I can see things physically now.
Springy boy peanuts.
Because he allows it.
Springy boy peanuts.
Can you talk to Rosalie now? Or do you still have to go through someone else?
No,
I'm just curious.
I can. No.
Got it.
Fuck all of you.
I was just wondering. Because I was like, you get more information about her. But I feel like people are talking about her.
There's a lot of F-bombs in this one. I feel emotionally, physically, and spiritually attacked this entire time, just so you know.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't do it to me. You gave me like one word things and then I told you things. So I'm surprised you didn't like go hard for my traumas because I could have related all of those back to.
I know, but I know that you're not comfortable talking about it.
Oh no, I don't care. That's why I let you read me.
No, you didn't express or expand upon anything that I told you about like childhood past things.
I talked to you about your childhood trauma. You couldn't avoid it. You were just like, you feel emotions from songs. You could 150% click that back into my trauma as a child.
Well, yeah, but I know you don't want me to, so I'm not going to.
Oh, well, I don't care.
Yeah, you don't talk about those things with me. So, you know.
Sorry. They're saying, the boundaries.
Yeah.
Jojo is saying that.
Your boundaries.
He's like on a ship. He's like, the boundaries, and there's break walls. Can't go over the break walls.
Yours?
They're yours. You don't want to know secrets for people. Am I wrong? I wasn't preventing you from getting that information. I'm surprised that you didn't say anything about it.
Well, yeah, I don't want to. I know it's not necessarily that I don't think I could get it. It's just that I don't want to do that on the podcast for you. I literally told people that I like butt rubs in one of the last podcasts. Yeah. It's funny. I'm okay with sharing things so that people can be laughed at. They can laugh at it or get whatever they need from it. Bradley thinks that our content is like observational comedy. It's just it's observational metaphysicality.
I don't know what that means.
So like in observational comedy, it's basically like every day you wake up and instead of thinking about pooping, you just drink coffee instead. And you have this idea that you want to have coffee because it tastes good and it will give you a buzz, but actually you just need it to shit your pants. And then people are like, that's so funny because it's true. It's like normal things that happen to people every day, but then you relay that information in a comedic way that's relatable to your audience because it is relatable. Everybody experiences it either in a similar way or the exact same way.
Got you.
So that's what we do, but with metaphysical things. We share the things that people experience every day, but didn't know that it was funny or, in our case, metaphysical, or both, honestly. That's our case. So like talking that I like butt rubs and that's consistent to orange cats is hilarious because a lot of people would probably be like, I like back rubs, foot rubs, hand rubs, butt rubs, tummy rubs, but no one's going to say it on a fucking podcast. Just like a lot of people experience the clairs or talking to a dead person, but no one's going to say it on a podcast.
Most people don't want to be on a podcast.
Exactly. Let alone talking about these things. So
well,
it's
I'm just saying.
Observational comedy.
Well, I'm saying for the things that you think are too, traumatic for you to share about me on the internet, I still don't think you'll get that information. You can get the things that I want you to get or that I will allow you to get. You don't have to make up your own boundaries for those things.
I will do it without the podcast first.
Okay. My last question is, you told me I have to raise my vibration and make the rope go bigger. How do I do that?
That's not for me to tell you. That's what your spirit guide's going to help you with.
Well, yeah. I was just wondering what they tell you.
It has to do with understanding your emotions and being able to relay them, because you as a person, it's like riding a horse, right? When we're talking to souls and spiritual beings, you have to have this sort of three-dimensional understanding of their energy and your own so that you can have a relationship enough to have a conversation. But you can't have a conversation with a spiritual being or a 1,400-pound beast between your knees, because if you don't have the ability to translate what you want, need, and feel through your fucking legs, you're going to die. Mm-hmm. If you can't translate that energy into the spiritual being, you're not going to have that communication or dialogue that you need. It's a difference.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
So you're getting information, you're able to talk to souls. It's just that the way that you do it is by adding a whole bunch of other stuff to overcompensate or fill in the gaps for what you just need. So
that's why I talk in circles. So
I don't think you talk in circles, though. You're just looking for a better way to explain it, which is fine.
Well, clairaudience, when I speak things, it gives me more information. I get one piece of information. Speaking gives me more information and more information and more information. But I ask questions in my head to get the information because I get pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were riding a horse and you needed to use more leg, but you didn't have the strength to use more leg, you'd put spurs on. And they're like spurs, side reins, a martingale, boots, bell boots, and all this other stuff. Riding reins, side reins, double reins, a crop. Those are your extra little thingies, but eventually you're going to be strong enough and able to understand it that you're not going to need that.
Got you.
But for now, that's what Zeroth does for you. But this owl lady is going to help you with not needing spurs and a crop and side reins. Because you're like, I need those things. And she's like, you don't really need them. You're okay. You just got to learn how to use your leg and put the pony into a frame. You can do that. You're like, I don't know.
It's running off with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
It hates me.
So.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's cute.
So, if you guys want one of these readings, they are on our website, my dude. They're called Spiritual Gifts Reading. I also have a bundle where you can get a spiritual gift and a spirit guide reading, where I go into all of the metaphysical things around you. But it's kind of similar to how I read Live, but most likely I will be telling you about your gifts versus how you receive information, because most of you probably don't do that, but it's okay. I did a reading on Russell, which we did in our YouTube video. Russell is one of the people on our ghost hunting team, so I talked to him about how his gifts work. So if you want to check that out, I also do a tarot reading with him, all of the things. But yeah, our website, my dude. Now, did you know that we're on Patreon? Because we haven't just mentioned it like a couple times during this podcast.
If you're interested in joining Patreon, there'll be a link in the show notes. Also, if you would feel so inclined to leave us an Apple Podcast or Spotify review, and in any of those podcasts, whether it's on the Metapsychics Extra channel that you can listen to these podcasts on, which is on our YouTube, or any other sort of podcast streaming platform, leave a dad joke in your review, because that is what we need in our lives.
Do you got any dad jokes?
I do, and I also know that you put a dad joke thing on the Discord server. And it makes... Yes. Did you do that in a fever dream?
You mean the chat forum? It is a while ago.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, okay.
And
Glad
I'm
you just noticed.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
you're right. I did just notice.
Yeah, thanks.
But it was great. I love it.
People asked.
Yeah.
And I presented.
I wouldn't have seen it if Todd wouldn't have tagged me in it.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly, it was really funny. He just tagged me in something about like...
Where do you think I got the leak joke? Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I just learned today that short-term memory loss may or may not be a long-term COVID, like... Symptom. Yeah, exactly. See? It's not a lot. It's a lot of things.
Drawings look like eyeballs. Sorry.
Oh, for me? I'm glad.
You got one
Okay,
yet?
everyone's doing dad jokes at the end, but I can't read anything that's past a certain point in the thing.
You should probably look that up and see how to do it.
How to actually look at things.
How to actually look at reviews.
But we have 75 ratings. So thank you guys for giving us a 75 ratings. And we have a 4.9. For the few of you that gave us 2 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, or 1 stars, you're all towels and not in a good way. So anyways, we have a dad joke from Charles607. And he says, why do hummingbirds hum?
Because their wings flap really fast.
I mean, that's a literal sense. Thank you.
Because their heart beats really fast. Because it's tiny.
Because they don't speak words.
I don't get it.
They don't know words. Also, if you don't have lips, I don't think you can
Do you
articulate sentences.
Do you think hummingbirds make sounds that aren't humming?
Yeah.
Like what?
I think they make like Tweety bird noises.
Mm.
Like I think they actually can make bird noises.
So they can talk.
Yeah, but they can't. They don't have lips.
So?
You need lips to articulate words.
Well, it's not just hummingbirds, is it?
Could you imagine if just like a bird walked up to you and it had lips instead of a beak? That's nightmare fuel right there.
Chicken lips. My cousin used to call my other cousin chicken lips. And she'd be like, chickens don't have lips. And he's like, that's why it's funny.
Oh, because they didn't have lips?
Chicken lips.
That's funny. Bradley thinks my brother has lips that are too big for his face.
Are they chicken lips? Sorry.
No, they're the opposite of chicken lips, I think. Bradley's like, did your brother have Botox? And I was like, no. He's like, well, why are his lips so big? Like he's a man. And I was like, well, I look exactly like my brother, like a fucking twin, but as a female. And you like
You also
me.
have chicken lips? Chicken lips.
Is butt cheeks one word or should I spread them apart? Sorry.
That was a good dad joke.
Yeah, it really was. So if you guys are interested in more content like this, do whatever it is that you do with podcasts so that you know on Sundays we post. We also have a website, readings. I'm booked out for a while, but Em has lovely readings, which you now know with all of this crazy banter for 2 hours. And we'll see you in the next one.
Also, if this is the future, Liv should probably not say that she's booked out because it might be the future and she might have a lot of openings, you know? You know what I'm saying? So go check.
Nah, I'll be booked out.
We'll see you there.
too.
We'll see you then.
You do it.
Do what?
Do it. Say it.
Do what?
Say it.
That's your job.
You say it.
Say
we're,
what?
We're learning how to change your frequencies. Come on.
I can't. It has to be the same. Autistic. We're learning how to change your frequency.
Do it.
Oh!
Do it. Say the oath.
No.
Say it.
Sidekicks unite.
I fucking hate you. You can't use my thing.
You can't use my thing.
And we're your meta sidekicks.
Oh, wow.
Are you Jiminy Cricket or is that just another fever dream?
Hey, what if I told you that the most effective workout programs shouldn't be judged on how they make you look on day 100, but how they make you feel on day 1? At Body, we know that just getting started in fitness can be overwhelming. We felt it too, which is why we created a workout, nutrition, and mindset platform that is designed to support you from the very first day. It's called Body, and it's going to change your whole relationship with fitness. Want to know more? Go to body.com now. That's BODI.com to learn more and try it free for 14 days.